I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Thanks for joining us. The pioneer public independent conciliator for the Southwest region of Cameroon has taken oath of office in Buea today, pledging to uphold the unique identity of the region as spelled out in the special status. Dorothy Atabong Motaze took the commitment in the Southwest Special Court of Appeal in Buea as the seasoned educationist begins her 6-year journey in her ombudsmanship. From Buea, Larry Efande reports.
The words that leave her empowered to pick up duty as the pioneer public independent conciliator of the country's Southwest region. She solemnly takes the commitment at the rostrum to express her readiness to examine and amicably settle disputes in the region.
It is true that the times are really not the best, but I know I'm going to bring in that touch which a mother usually brings. The region should expect an open door policy.
Administering the oath of office at the Buea Appeal Court, the first Deputy President, Justice Helen Fonacho, urges the sworn-in to use diplomacy, tact, and skills acquired in her stewardship in the presence of the Southwest Governor, Bernard Okalia Bilai, other administrative officials, municipal, civil, and traditional authorities. The 61-year-old seasoned educationist began her 6-year journey as an ombudsman.
And following the oath-taking ceremony of the public independent conciliator, the populations of the Southwest region are rather upbeat that Madame Dorothy Atabong Motaze will uphold justice, shun corruption, and foster peace and development in the region in the discharge of the responsibilities bestowed on her. Annabelle Dike Enoanyang talked to the people on their expectations on the PIC and compiled the following report from CRTV Southwest.
Having as responsibility to defend, protect and free victims who have been discriminated upon, the population of the Southwest expect the newly installed public independent conciliator, Dorothy Atabong Motaze, to uphold justice and shun all forms of corruption.
We are going to see how she's going to bridge that gap between the local councils and the regional council.
What we need is the re-promotion of the social cohesion and multiculturalism to go beyond.
Others are upbeat. Dorothy Atabong Motaze will use her influence to foster peace in the Southwest region.
Should be able to liaise between the members of the regional council and even the councils of the Southwest region, ensure that peace reigns.
As she gets to work, all the different fractions are looking forward to making use of the people's advocate.
Cameroonian lawmakers have enjoined the Minister of Finance to ensure that infrastructural projects occupy a place of choice in the 2020 budget of the country. The members of the National Assembly mooted the concern in Parliament as they took part in the traditional budgetary orientation debate that avails the lawmakers an opportunity to direct and orientate government's economic and budgetary decisions. Esther Kmer reports.
A budgetary orientation debate that should reflect the expectations of the people. Deputy Speaker Honorable Ilarong Etong enjoins the lawmakers to probe into aspects that will boost the economy and improve livelihoods. 20 in number, the quiz government on the import substitution policy and more.
How will the Minister's budgetary allocation make it possible for that ministry to fight effectively against the increase in violence and drug consumption in schools.
What has become of the work on the Mundembalum via Kumba Road, the Melon Bangem Tombe Road?
When exactly will the Limbe deep sea port take off? The management
de concertation pour booster l'économie numérique, donc à Yaoundé, la concertation a cours
to ensure that diagnoses are well done for children and pregnant women.
Applauding the constructive criticisms made on the economic outlook, governments dispersed their fears.
This is why we came for, to take their contributions and to see how we can take them into consideration and to implement them in the budget when we will come here in November and December. We want to get rid of coronavirus. The economy will revamp.
The outcome of the debates will definitely shape the state's budgetary outline, challenged by the need to maintain the country's resilience.
At a time when plans to draft the 2022 state budget are being crafted, let's stop a while and make an appraisal of the first generation projects that have been underway in the country 10 years running. From the Lompanga and the Mekin hydroelectric power plants to the Douala, Yaoundé and Yaoundé and Simalan motorways, consensus is rather mitigated as to the progress of work and the respect of deadlines. As Joyce Kimbi Fowajo reports, work on these projects must be accelerated to angle Cameroon steadily and definitely on the path of emergence. Joyce?
2021 could be qualified as a year of truth for most structural projects whose completion are expected this year. The Yaoundé-Douala motorway, its first phase, is at 98% executed and completion slated for December 2021. The Kribi-Lolabe motorway, on its part, is completely finished and its exploitation programmed from October 2021. The rural section of the Yaoundé-Simalen motorway is at 98% done, while its urban section is still awaiting funding. As concerns hydroelectric dams, the Lompanga power plant is at over 45% constructed to provide 30 megawatts of energy to the Betwa high voltage line. Deadline for its completion is December this year. As concerns the Memvele hydroelectric dam, its commercial exploitation is scheduled to move from 90 megawatts to 211 megawatts by September 2021 to the benefit of the South region and the nation as a whole. All said, 2021 is a determinant year for most of these first-generation structural projects underway in Cameroon.
And what has come to be known in Cameroon as the first-generation projects were conceived with the aim of enabling the state to build a strong and resilient local industry. Reason why their contribution to the structural transformation of the national economy is crucial. That is why it becomes an imperative that earmarked projects are executed within the specified time frame in order to unlock the production potential of priority sectors. Clarissa Ray Tarkang reports on the negative impact projects may have on the economy when they are not executed on time.
It is the basis of Cameroon's development drive for the next decade, the structural transformation of the economy. There is therefore no gainsaying the plus expected from first-generation projects, building industries, productive infrastructure, trade facilitation, and private sector stimulus are amongst the pillars to plant.
If there is no transformation of raw materials, there is no added value, and no added value implies no job and wealth creation. There is no redistribution and so no growth. In the case of road, when there is exchange of goods and services, we should see more wealth and intense monetary activity, which is good for the economy. There is definitely added value.
While a positive turnaround is expected from major infrastructural works, only by becoming fully operational will the economic gains be counted. Delays spell bad news.
We got into debt in order to execute these projects, and delays in their completion and takeoff automatically means no return in investment. This means reimbursement becomes a problem. The debt burden is heavy, and there are no proceeds from production, given that they were executed to stimulate production. But this is not the case. It may equally create investor hesitancy because attracting more investment becomes difficult.
Bearing these in mind, signed thus serves as a wake-up call in order to give first-generation projects the opportunity to play the role they were conceived in the first place.
And the issue of accelerating projects funded by the African Development Bank was at the center of discussions during a meeting chaired by the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Nganu today in Yaoundé. Amongst the issues to address are speeding the payment of the indemnities to populations affected by the projects and the completion of the ring road in the northwest regions. Details with Joyce Kimbi Forward.
The ADB's current portfolio in the road sector in Cameroon represents 43% of the institution's investment, more than 700 kilometers of roads under construction and rehabilitation, and 1,000 linear meters of engineering structures under construction. This justifies the presence of this 13-man expert from the African Development Bank that held meeting with officials of the Ministry of Public Works. They reached a consensus, amongst which emphasis on the completion of the ring road project in the northwest region.
I have challenged the minister to make this road, the construction, to start this year. We want to use all the bank resources, technical resources, financial resources, to really have this project implemented on time. But it's not just that road we want to push in this region. We want to use this road to also be able to finance some social economic project in the region.
Both parties also talked on saving time and fast-tracking payment of indemnities, maturity of projects for the year 2022, and the inclusion of other administrations in the preparation of projects. The day ended with an audience granted to a delegation of Egyptian businessmen led by its ambassador to Cameroon. Discussions with Minister Nganu centered on business opportunities in Cameroon.
In the west region of the country, the 3-year Special Youth Plan is generating success stories in various domains. One of such successful youths is Francis Fonkwon Denoka, who received 20 million CFA francs to grow his maize project, a project which has made him an entrepreneur, employing other youths and making money for himself and his family. Kevin Nembo visited his maize farm in the Bambutos division and put together the following story.
Before the Special Youth Training Plan fully went operational in 2017, most youths in the West region, just like the 1-year-old Francis Fonkwon Denoka, were job seekers in the already congested job market. Today, the one-time job seeker who drafted his business plan in 2016 when the head of state made the announcement to launch the program is a veritable job maker, employing over 15 youths who work on this 5 hectares maize plantation at the heart of Galim in the Bambutos division. Thanks to the 20 million aid obtained through the Special Youth Training Plan, he bought a tractor, improved maize seeds, fertilizers, and other farm inputs, and is today able to pay permanent and temporary workers, mostly youths. The native of Galim says his closest neighbors, 6 young people, are all beneficiaries of the same Special Youth Training Plan, reason why he is calling on all other Cameroonian youths to see similar opportunities, change their lives, and contribute to nation building. The maize on the 5 hectares plantation farm will soon be ready for harvesting in the weeks ahead, and Francis Fonkwon Denoka says he is already in contact with officials of one brewery industry in Bafoussam who have shown interest to buy. That's just what makes his story of a job seeker to a job maker worth emulating.
And you're watching the 7:30 news on the Cameroon radio television, the CRTV. We are beaming live from Yaoundé. Tomorrow, July 7, 2021, is the deadline given to some 600 teachers by the Minister of Secondary Education to justify their current administrative position with the ministry. Secondary Education Minister Naloba Lyonga published the names of the teachers on June 30, 2021, inviting the teachers to present supporting documents, failure of which disciplinary measures will be taken against them. The decision will go a long way in saving the state of hundreds of billion CFA francs that it loses to these ghost workers each year. More details with Constantine.
The 600 teachers identified do come from the 10 regions. According to the June 30 press release signed by the Minister of Secondary Education, the teachers declared absent might be out of the national territory, as the press release even identified their country of residence, such as the US, Germany, South Africa, Ghana, Belgium, France, just to name but these. 7 days were given to them to justify it with supporting documents with current administrative position. Just 1 more day is left for the deadline.
After this, the Minister of Public Service will constate their absence, and so we are going to enclench the disciplinary procedure. 1
week is enough time for verification, and it will be difficult for those overseas to have time to return and be identified with complicity from corrupt officials.
If it's established that they are absent, they will be dismissed from the public service. They can be taken into court.
It is not the first time such an exercise is carried out in Cameroon, especially with teachers, as some are recruited and later on disappeared for greener pastures, while still being paid by the state. Well, some of the teachers might be of late, but their salaries continue to pass. The exercise will help clean the state's payroll.
The 10th edition of the Fair on Government Action SAGO will take place from July 25 to 31 at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex. In a press conference today, the Secretary General in the Ministry of Communication ahead of the event said the event will be used to lay emphasis on what government is doing. He spoke to our reporter, Romeo Kenya.
We recommend an improvement in the synergy upstream of the organization process between the government and the organizers in order to increase the presence of institutional stakeholders with a more intensive promotion for the general public in order to improve the attractiveness of the event.
The 6th edition of the Civic and Patriotic Holidays has kicked off in Yaoundé on the theme Youth Voluntary Commitment for Environmental Protection and Fight Against COVID-19. The operation, launched by Youth Affairs Minister Mununa Futso, has as goal to promote healthy, educational and purposeful holidays among youths by schooling them on how to keep safe from deviant behavior and the need to respect COVID-19 preventive measures. Emmanuel Avamia reports.
Into the neighborhoods of Yaoundé, they go with messages of sensitization on coronavirus and preservation of the environment. These mobile mass animation teams want to promote civic-mindedness, peace and volunteerism among the youths. It is the 6th edition of the operation dubbed Civic and Patriotic Holidays, with emphasis on COVID-19 vaccination.
To respect measure barrier and to bring them to respecting our laws and regulations.
7 ministries and the CRTV have joint effort with the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Civic Education to enable young people in Cameroon spend purposeful holiday by shunning vices like drug abuse and embracing virtues like the respect of the national emblems, among others.
For the Cameroonian youth to participate and face the challenges of our development, protection of environment through planting trees and vaccination against COVID-19.
They would need these kits and trees to preach by example as they target their peers until August 31 nationwide.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
We now go over to the Public Health Emergency Operations Center, where Baldwin Sama and Dr. Andreas Nja of the National Immunization Program are previewing the mass vaccination campaign against the coronavirus that the Ministry of Public Health will be launching across Cameroon tomorrow. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Ben Menopofong. It remains one of the major reasons as to why most Cameroonians are reluctant to have themselves vaccinated against the coronavirus, because very few of them have an idea of how the vaccination exercise looks like. With our guest tonight, Dr. Andreas Nja, we look at how the vaccination of an individual, the exercise, how it looks like. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening, Baldwin.
How does the vaccination of an individual look like?
Yes, thank you so much. In the case of
COVID-19, yeah.
Exactly. The first thing is that when you get to the vaccination site, or if a mobile team gets to where you are, they are going to inform you globally about COVID and basically especially the vaccination. And they will find out if you have been vaccinated before. If you have never been vaccinated, it will be surely your first dose. If you have been vaccinated before, you might be taking the second dose. Now, they'll find out if you have been vaccinated before, if you presented with any allergic reaction that may contraindicate the next vaccination with that same vaccine. Secondly, they'll get other basic information about you, hypertension, diabetes, and other elements to be able to properly follow you up. And once you are vaccinated, you'll be given a vaccination card. And very importantly, they'll also find out whether you are a breastfeeding mother, you are pregnant, because for this group, it is contraindicated. So those are the major elements that are verified. And at the end of it, after being vaccinated, you are given a vaccination card and your rendezvous is fixed, which you'll be informed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Andreas Nja, for that piece of information. Very, very important for Cameroonians to be aware, especially avoid being vaccinated if, for example, you are tested positive for COVID-19, and respect all of these measures outlined by our guest, Dr. Andreas Nja, today before having yourself vaccinated against the coronavirus. Back to you, Ben Menopofong.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama. Cameroon has launched a firm appeal to La Francophonie member states to punish promoters of violence and terrorism back here in Cameroon and who are based in their respective countries in keeping with their national laws. The appeal was launched in Yaoundé today by the Minister Delegate to the Minister of External Relations in charge of relations with the Commonwealth, Felix Mbayu, as he addressed the 115th session of La Francophonie Permanent Council as it held here in Yaoundé. Details with Charles Ebune.
The Major National Dialogue, a government-driven initiative held in 2019, was one of the measures and a hallmark of measures taken by the government to quench the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions since it started in 2016. These measures, undertaken by the government, demonstrate her determination and her engagement to provide endogenous solutions which are the best to internal crises. The minister lauded the efforts of the United States government a few weeks ago to tame the tensions in the northwest and southwest, especially those who promote violence.
Je voudrais ici me féliciter de la mise en accusation.
I would like at this moment to thank the United States of America, who has taken measures against presumed individuals who had provided armaments and financing of terrorists operating in the northwest and southwest regions. At the 115th session of the Permanent Council of La Francophonie, the Minister Delegate to the Minister of External Relations was representing Cameroon and was assisted by the Director of La Francophonie at the Ministry of External Relations, Dr. Christian Put.
The Chinese Communist Party has been marking its 100th year of existence with a video conference moderated by Chinese President Xi Jinping, highlighting the country's contribution, the party's contribution to the formation and molding of modern-day China. Charles Ebune was at the Chinese embassy in Yaoundé, where the video conference was beaming, and now reports on the key issues as presented by the Chinese leader.
The Chinese embassy here in Yaoundé, Cameroon, this July 6, 2021, time to mark the centenary anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party.
Much of the world appreciates and is in tune with the principles, the method, and the policies that the Communist Party of China has incarnated for 100 years.
The global event is chaired by the Secretary General of the Chinese Communist Party, Chinese President Xi Jinping.
We have a political party which has lasted 100 years and has succeeded to govern a state with a population of more than 1.4 billion persons.
Amongst the political parties invited worldwide and attending here at the Chinese embassy here in Yaoundé, Cameroon, is the Cameroon's People Democratic Movement, and its delegation is led by the Secretary for International Relations and Human Rights, former Minister Delegate to the Minister of Justice, Jean-Pierre Fogui.
In sports, let's continue to talk about our running series on the state of infrastructure in Garoua as the city prepares to host a pool of the AFCON 2021. Tonight, we zoom in on the Rundiaja Stadium. The 20,000 capacity structure built in 1978 has been totally renovated and given a completely different outlook altogether. And this thanks to cooperation ties between Cameroon and Portugal. Gilbert Ongenia takes us on a guided tour of the facility.
The Garoua Rundiaja Stadium stands majestically in the North Regional Capital, Garoua. This 2,000 capacity parking lot at the main entrance to the infrastructure ushers us into the 20,000 capacity stadium. This sports infrastructure is endowed with specialized vestries, top among them this underground warm-up room with an artificial pitch. Others include a massage room, an anti-doping infirmary, as well as coaches and referees' offices. This newly installed video assistant referee VAR equipment puts the Rundiaja Stadium among the few privileged in the Simak sub-region to be equipped with this modern referee technology. The Garoua Rundiaja Stadium, renovated by Mota Angel, a Portuguese construction firm, also prides itself of an annexed stadium and this training ground of Coton Sport of Garoua, which will be used by teams lodged at the Garoua pool during AFCON 2021.
Still in sports, technical installations for the production of radio and television signals from the Bafoussam Omnisport Stadium for AFCON 2021 are 80% in place already. The information was made public in Bafoussam today during the last lap of the visit of the Director General of the Cameroon Radio Television to the West region. Chancellor Nanze completes that report from CRTV West.
This is where images of games to be played on the green turf of the Bafoussam Omnisport Stadium will be produced and distributed to the rest of the globe during the 2021 AFCON. This area has been identified for the installation of CRTV's Flyaway. An area for the positioning of cameras has been identified as well. CRTV's Director General Charles Ndongo and his team were keen on all the media-related aspects of the stadium: the transmission room, interview rooms, TV studio, TV broadcast room, the press conference room, radio commentary area, and the TV commentary booth. The technical installations in the stadium are 80% gone, and the stadium coordinator, Brice Joycer, says the rest will be done before the D-Day. A total of 60 technicians from the state broadcaster will be present in Bafoussam during the 2021 Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations come January 9, 2022.
And the Deputy Director General of the CRTV, Emmanuel Wongibe, in the sidelines of that visit, has enjoined the personnel of the West Regional Station to be professional and hardworking, ensuring that the station meets a set objectives. And he was speaking as he installed the newly appointed Chief of Service for Information and News Magazine of the CRTV West, Charles Lebon Nueso, into office. Chet Tembok reports from CRTV West.
During the General Assembly, the Assistant General Manager announced that 3 new transmitters, one for the national station, the other for the regional station, and the last for Poala FM, have been brought to Bafoussam and will be installed in the days ahead in order to boost broadcast signals. As a host station to a pool of AFCAN 2021, Mr. Emmanuel Wongibe said the event is an excellent platform for the station to rise and shine above all else, showcase the country in all its splendor and diversity. That role, which is incumbent on the entire station staff, he said, starts right now as January 2022 is just 6 months away. It was said we hasten and being equal to the task come D-Day has been entrusted into the hands of the new Chief of Information and News Magazine Service, Senior Journalist Charles Lebon Nueso, who was officially commissioned into office by the station manager René Njiamot. Charles Lebon Nueso is coming in from the South Regional Station, where he served in the same capacity. Prior to this, he was Chief of Programs and Programming at the Southwest Regional Station, Adamawa, and the East Regions.
And I leave you with this press release from the Ministry of Defense recounting the events which took place on Sunday, the 4th of July 2021 at about 2:30 p.m. at the Below Funcha Mixed Checkpoint in Bamenda 3 Subdivision, Mezam Division of the Northwest Region of Cameroon. During a routine check, a driver named Ngoran Jibrin Dubila on board a white Toyota Land Cruiser in trying to escape control was stopped in his flight by deterrent gunshots. He was unfortunately fatally hit and buried by his family on Monday morning, the 5th of July 2021. Initial findings established that an arrest warrant had been issued against the deceased by the president of the Bamenda Military Tribunal for inciting secession and issuing conditional threats. It has equally been established that the said Ngoran Jibrin Dubila was the main local relay of certain secessionist terrorist leaders of the diaspora. The Ministry of Defense regrets this unfortunate incident and extends its heartfelt condolences to the bereaved family. The investigations opened will help to ascertain the magnitude and establish the responsibilities of the actors in this unfortunate incident. And that press release has been signed by Navy Captain Atonfak Ngemo Siri Serge, who is the head of the Communication Division in the Ministry of Defense. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. Good night.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.